Want to know why I'm not having an aneurysm over people losing their food stamps on November 1st? Here's why.
Come grocery shop. Get this. Go by faster.
I should not have to pay to feed you and your 9 children. I'll be the selfish one. My kid comes first in my eyes, not you.
I would take a third job. I have 2 jobs. I would take a third job if I had to, just to make sure my kids ate. What are you doing for your kids besides coming on the internet and bitching that you don't have?
And coming for black women, no. You just make yourself look stupid. She got SNAP, EBT, and a degree, home.
Katt Williams is back in the headlines, but this time, he's not calling out the entertainment industry or roasting fellow comedians. Instead, he's going after white Karens celebrating the news that black women are losing access to food stamps. Ever since it was announced that Trump is cutting federal food assistance, social media has been flooded with clips of Karens saying things like, "Good, get a job and..."
And they almost always pair it with a video of a black woman talking about food stamps.
I don't want to see nobody on here complaining about food stamps that was posting beach pictures and new tattoos all summer, okay? Thank you.
Here's the reality about food assistance that these Karens clearly don't get. First off, the majority of SNAP recipients are actually white. And it's not just about those on SNAP. Food insecurity is a nationwide issue. SNAP supports millions of Americans of all races and backgrounds, including seniors, kids, veterans, people with disabilities, and working families who just don't earn enough to cover both rent and groceries. So let's unpack what's really going on, why black families are once again being unfairly targeted, and why Katt Williams is speaking out so passionately.
1 in 8 Americans rely on SNAP benefits, and tonight there is mounting worry for them. They might not be able to afford food with money running out 1 week from today.
Here's what's happening. Starting in November 2025, millions of Americans are set to lose their SNAP benefits, what most people know as food stamps. Why? The federal government is still in a shutdown, and Congress hasn't approved funding for the program. The USDA says they can't legally issue November benefits without congressional approval. But that's misleading. Republicans aren't sharing the full picture. Emergency funds could legally cover SNAP even during a shutdown, but they're choosing not to use them. In fact, the USDA's own shutdown plan confirms that funds for program operations are guaranteed, even if the government is partially closed. Now, let's put this into perspective for everyday people, because members of Congress, whether Democrat or Republican, won't be the ones going hungry this holiday season. SNAP currently supports around 42 million Americans, which is roughly 1 in 8 people nationwide. And the majority of those receiving aid are children.
Why don't these people on SNAP just work? I don't understand. My guy, most of the people who are on SNAP are children. According to 2023 fiscal analysis, it made up 39% of the people on SNAP. That's 12 million children.
Another important point that many people miss is that food insecurity isn't just an individual issue. It's a nationwide crisis that impacts everyone. Even if you personally don't rely on SNAP, when millions of Americans struggle to access enough food, it affects the entire economy. Kids who go hungry have trouble learning in school, which can lower future workforce productivity. Adults who can't afford proper nutrition are more prone to illness, driving up healthcare costs for all. Local businesses also take a hit because people have less money to spend on groceries, often forcing stores to raise prices. Food banks, meanwhile, are stretched thin trying to fill the gaps. And let's be clear, this isn't a problem of resources. Right now, 47.4 million Americans, including 13.8 million children, are food insecure, yet 92 American billionaires collectively hold $6.8 trillion. The real issue here is the ever-growing wealth inequality, not a lack of means to solve hunger.
The US is one of the wealthiest nations in the world. It ranks first based on total GDP and 7th based on GDP per capita. Yet when it comes to food security, America ranks 22nd among developed countries. 33.8 million Americans didn't have adequate access to food, according to the latest report from the USDA. That's 13.5 million, or 10.2% of all US households in 2021.
I literally stand on 2nd Avenue at 4 o'clock in the morning and go around behind the restaurants and wait for the bakeries to deliver bread When you're that hungry to steal bread from the restaurants behind the stores, you're hungry.
The clip we just saw is one of many viral AI videos spreading misinformation right now. This is part of why social media reactions have become so toxic. White Karens are out here celebrating black women losing food stamps, completely ignoring that most recipients are actually poor white Americans. One TikTok video like this even went viral, and the backlash in the comments was so intense that the woman eventually deleted it.
They cutting our food stamps off next week. And that's the only way I've been able to keep the kids fed and the lights on. Y'all see that sign behind me? If they really take it, I don't know what else I'm supposed to do but go in there and grab what we need. People keep telling me to go apply something.
On the bright side, social media isn't all negativity. There are people like journalist Tori who are working to inform the public that cuts to food aid will impact everyone, not just SNAP recipients.
This message is for all the people that are complaining that they're not getting their food stamps for November. What did you do with October's food stamp money? What'd you do? Did you stock up on pantry items and try to shop smartly? Or did you just go buy a bunch of processed garbage? By the way, you can thank the Democrats for the government being shut down and your benefits not coming through for November. Looks like you're going to be going to the food pantry for your Thanksgiving meal. I know a lot of food pantries hand out turkeys for Thanksgiving. All the sides and trimmings too. Lots of food pantries. You better figure it out. I'm sick of hearing you complain, honestly. You ever have this as a meal? I'm eating peanut butter and butter on toast. It's absolutely delicious. You should try it. And not for nothing, I saw this woman that said she was getting $1,100 a month in food stamps. Do you know how long I could make $1,100 in food stamps last in this house? There's two of us, but I do have my son over every once in a while, or my daughters over once in a while to eat. I feed them too, and we always got food in our house, no matter what. I would take a third job. I have two jobs. I would take a third job if I had to, just to make sure my kids ate. What are you doing for your kids besides coming on the internet and bitching that you don't have any money in your food stamps account?
Well, I don't know, Sarah Meth. Perhaps they spent October's food stamps in October? Like, what the hell? George Bush, you will pay for your crimes because these children should have been left behind, but unfortunately, they weren't. And now they're adults with access to the internet and total use of free will. I'm gonna start calling this the J-Lo theory. Whenever you give people full unmonitored access to something, whether it be a mic, a phone, social media, whatever it is, and total use of free will, they will use that thing regardless of if it sounds good or if it makes a lick of sense. This is what Trump means when he says smart people don't like me, because what do you mean she made this video in regard to November food stamps, asking what people did with their October food stamps? If Johnny had 5 apples...
Comedian DL Hughley also called out MAGA supporters for spreading false information, pointing out that claims suggesting only black people will be affected by these cuts are completely wrong.
Government assistance that brings out the racism in people. Most SNAP recipients are white women. Tree loves to give the white working class a sense of superiority over black people. Every dollar spent in the SNAP program leads to $1.50 returning to the economy. It also creates consumers out of people who, that helps everybody who works in the store, everybody who delivers to that store, everybody who relies on that store, because if you subtract a significant portion of that store's consumers, a significant portion of the consumers to the economy who happen to be working class people who are getting their money from SNAP, then the store will have to raise its prices. If you remove a bunch of consumers, the store will have to raise its prices, and that will make life harder for you, white lady. I know you think that black woman is just taking from you, but what she is inadvertently doing.
And then there's Katt Williams. He fired back at the Karens mocking black women for relying on food stamps. While he slipped in his signature humor, he made it clear that black women aren't the ones who will feel the biggest impact when food aid gets reduced.
But it isn't just hurting the people you want. More of you, more of his supporters, more people that wanted him to win, more people that are supportive of him will be hurt than other people. That word disproportionately ain't gonna matter when you're freezing and cold. As a matter of fact, if the heating subsidies are not renewed, And if SNAP benefits out there around Thanksgiving, there won't have been this many cold and hungry white people since the Pilgrims landed here. Since Plymouth Rock. And this time, ain't gonna be no Indians to bail you out.
Isn't it strange how, whenever discussions like this pop up, new media channels always seem to focus on interviewing black people? The conversation around food stamps is just another example of how racism manipulates perceptions. It convinces people to see enemies where there are actually allies, leading them to vote against their own interests. And yes, this is intentional. Those AI videos showing black women complaining about SNAP benefits? They're designed to do exactly that. For example, conservative lawyer Mike Davis, rumored to be on Trump's list for Attorney General, recently tweeted something shocking. "We should only help people who can't help themselves. 40 million people get food stamps. Get off your fat ghetto ass. Get a job. Stop reproducing. Change your culture. Stop giving food stamps to immigrants. We don't want you here if you won't work." Notice the wording, fat ghetto ass, change your culture, and stop reproducing. He mentions immigrants, but he's really talking about American citizens. And the stop reproducing comment? He likely calls himself pro-life, too. It's a lot to unpack. To put it in perspective, one former social media user wrote, "Let November roll around and those poor white people don't get SNAP, and we'll see how hungry you have to be to stop being racist." So what do you think? Are SNAP cuts just mismanaged, or is there a deeper plan here to pit people against one another, fuel racism, and once again scapegoat black Americans for a problem that actually impacts everyone, with poor white Americans being hit the hardest according to the data? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video.